Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
If I could open my doors and it caused some stir or maybe got some conversation going or something like that, maybe, possibly maybe I can save my business, but, more so hopefully I can help other businesses get a second chance here to kind of survive and or maybe help them to give them the courage to open their doors. I hope I'm helping some other individuals out there by doing this. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be able to help myself, but we'll find out.
Today, I'm introducing you to Kyle Thomson. He's a small business owner who reached out to us through our portal for small business owners who are defying the COVID lockdown orders to shut down their businesses and opening their doors to customers instead. I'm Tamara Ugolini for Rebel News, and that portal can be found at iwillopen.com. Now, Kyle owns a small business called Park Provisioners Barbershop and Haberdashery. It's a little bit of everything, including a barbershop, of course, but it also has retail space and even a small cafe. Like hundreds of thousands of other small businesses in Doug Ford's Ontario, it's been hit by heavy restrictions like curbside pickup or altogether bans on selling the goods and services like those found in Kyle's shop. It's been going on for months now. But Kyle is choosing to open up, even though he risks serious fines. He had just opened a few months before the initial shutdown in March 2020, so feeling like he has nothing left to lose, he hopes to inspire others to do the same. Check out our interview here. Specifically, how has the lockdown affected your business, but also your employees?
Yeah, well, uh, the employees side of things, you have serve and then EI and all those things, but they're having to balance and go back and forth and continuously not knowing what's going on, and for the most part, I think from their mental well-being and everything like that, they would just like to be out there doing their jobs and that and working, but and they don't know if there's going to be something to come back to at the end or whatever, or where they might go. For myself, it's difficult as well. I don't know if we'll be around. It's part of my family, and it's definitely stressful in that. But I feel, so much more for the others that are in, even more dire situations than we are right now. Just imagine you're sitting there going, "Oh, I can't wait till next week. We can open up again," and then all of a sudden another announcement comes out, or you're forced to spend thousands of dollars to, not necessarily myself, but I know others spent thousands of dollars to just kind of retrofit or do things to try to follow within guidelines, and then, as you said, the goalposts keep on changing in that, and they just keep driving themselves further into debt, and they're acting reactionary, I guess, to this, because they're trying to, they're trying to do what they can, and it's stressful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you have submitted your shop to the I Will Open campaign. And so part of that is that we reach out to you, we feature your shop. Now I see that you plan to reopen on Wednesday, January 20th. You were featured in a local article in Belleville in Quinte, news source. So Kyle, what is it that made you want to reopen at this point?
Well, for me, I just think it's got to the point that I don't know where we'll be in the near future, or where it might be down the road, sort of thing. And I felt like if I could open my doors and it caused some stir, or maybe got some conversation going or something like that, maybe, possibly maybe I can save my business, but more so hopefully I can help other businesses get a second chance here to kind of survive, and or maybe help them to give them the courage to open their doors and realize that it's not just about our businesses at this point. It's about the well-being of individuals out there. Locking us up is, that's a whole different conversation, as I'm sure you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope I'm helping some other individuals out there by doing this. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be able to help myself, but we'll find out.
And there's the argument too that these smaller shops are actually a safer alternative than the big box stores who we've seen have been able to remain open almost unabated.
Yeah,
So I imagine that again that your shop has protocols in place and stipulations, and your safety is still a priority at your shop.
yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. It doesn't matter, at the same time, it doesn't matter my beliefs about it or whatnot or anybody else's. You want to make your customers feel comfortable. And sometimes some feel it's one way or the other, but to take a few small steps is not a big sacrifice to make, even if it's just relieve someone's anxiety or something like that. So we don't mind doing that, absolutely. And we'll continue to do that for a while now.
Maybe you could touch on that a little bit in terms of the government help that is available for small businesses.
Yeah, they they'll push money your way or whatever, but it really, here's 10 grand, try to balance yourself through 6 months where, 4 of the months you're closed, or you're having to go through these things, or they're, terrifying people to the point where they just don't want to come out, and that's understandable. So these handouts at the end, some are going to end up closing their doors and say, hey, look, I got a little bit of money left over from the handout, and maybe that'll cover some bills, but then it's going to quickly get into a situation where they can't find another job, or they have no money to start another business, or there's no reason to, and they'll end up coming for their homes and stuff like that. That's, I think, a lot of people's fears, and it seems like that's the way it's going to be going.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have a message for any of the politicians that are locking small businesses and yourself down?
I think they've heard it all, or maybe they haven't heard it all, or they're not listening. But there's a lot of data out there suggesting that our doors should be open, that the public should be out more. Yet they seem to want to keep on dismissing anybody that wants to have a conversation with that, and or firing them or whatever it might be. But I would say my message is wake up and start making better decisions for us, because you're ultimately, all you're doing right now is harming us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can appreciate that sentiment. Now, Kyle, just before we wrap things up, do you have clients that are willing to come in and support your business as you reopen? I suppose, for lack of a better word, illegally.
Yeah. So I posted something just recently, and we got a lot of support, which is great. And then we had some other individuals that could understand what we're doing and were very kind in saying, we understand what you're doing. It doesn't necessarily fall into what I believe or whatever. And those are the people you want to, converse with, because they're open to a discussion and dialogue. And then, of course, there was individuals that are, pretty stern and hateful, some would say, but I don't see it that way. They have a belief, and that is their beliefs, and they believe they're not doing any harm to anybody by, or they think they're helping people by believing what they do. But ultimately, there's another side to it too, and no one seems to be giving us clear information to suggest one side or the other is right. So.
Mm-hmm. And there doesn't seem to be any space for that discussion to take place either, which is
no, absolutely not.
The most unfortunate part of this whole unraveling. So hopefully, as we see more politicians like the MPP in York Region, Roman, who spoke out against the harms of the lockdown, hopefully as more people come forward like that these discussions can begin to take place, and the democratic debate brought back into what we are supposed to be living in, which is a free and democratic society. So I wanted to thank you, Kyle, for coming on here today with me. I also want to extend our invitation. If you are fined or you do face any sort of ticketing when you reopen your doors on Wednesday, we have our sister campaign here at Rebel News, fightthefines.com. So please, if you're fined, when we say that we stand by small business, we mean it. So if you are fined, please submit all of your fines to that campaign, fightthefines.com. We don't want you to pay any of these fines. We have an assembly line of lawyers teamed up that we will be fighting these fines. What do you think of that?
That's great news, Tamara. Thank you very much. And, I can't say how much it means to myself and others to know that, someone out there is wanting to support us and, help us get through this. Thank you very much. We all appreciate it.
And of course, keep me posted.
Will do.
And so as we see here in Ontario specifically, the restrictions and the impositions become harsher and are enforced more aggressively with, again, no end in sight. We stand with small businesses and people like Kyle who also stand in solidarity with other small businesses and want to set an example for what they can do to help prolong and ensure that they have economic certainty moving forward throughout 2021. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you're like Kyle and want to stand in solidarity with small businesses, please consider donating to our campaign at fightthefines.com. Here at Rebel News, when we say that we stand with small businesses, we mean it. So when they open in defiance of these unconstitutional orders by dictator Doug, they risk fines. And we don't want to see any struggling small business pay those fines. So we're assembling lawyers to cover the costs. Consider donating what you're able to at fightthefines.com.